Body bags where horror lies.
What's up, body bags? This is Kyle coming back at you with another Tuesday review. I'm actually reviewing another Wild Eye releasing today. This is actually a brand new movie that they just released. It's called The Horror Network. They sent it over to me to review. I just got done watching it. It's actually really, really cool. So pretty much kind of jump into the movie, tell you a little bit about it before I get into the actual movie itself. It's a 2015 horror anthology movie. If you guys aren't familiar with what a horror anthology is, basically a bunch of short stories, kind of like Trick or Treat or just a bunch of. There's 5 short stories on this DVD, or Tales of Halloween. If you guys have seen Tales of Halloween, it's kind of like that. There's several directors of this. I'm going to go over the directors as I go through the shorts. I'm not going to give you a huge idea of like everything that happens in the shorts, but I'm going to give you a brief synopsis of everything in each short. This, like I said, was released by Wild Eye 2015. To kind of get into it, there is, believe 5. Yeah, there's 5 shorts on this. 5 tales of modern horror is what it says on the back. Here's the back of it. This was actually surprisingly very, very good for an anthology movie. And anthology movies for me are kind of hit or miss. It was actually pretty damn good. The first movie, the first short, kind of jumps into it. When you put the disc in, you think the first short. I thought the first short was actually a preview at first, but it was like very long. So then I realized it wasn't. But the first short is called 3 a.m. It was directed by Lee Matthews. This short is about a woman who is taunted by an unknown caller in the middle of the night. So basically there's this woman, she lives in this house, this big house, kind of out in the country. She keeps getting these calls in the middle of the night, and she keeps hearing things rustling around in her house. And it's kind of a silent short. There really is not really any dialogue to it, but she's just kind of pacing around in the house, going around the house, trying to find out what's going on. She's answering this phone. Nobody's, really, it's not a silent short. She does talk a little bit in it, but there's literally like no dialogue. She keeps getting calls. Nobody's on the other line. Keeps hearing things in the house. As it goes through, as it starts to progress, you kind of get an idea that, what's going on. That's the first short. Very creepy, very eerie. I'm going to rate these by shorts. I think that short, I'm going to rate these 1 out of 10. I would give that short a 6 out of 10. It was definitely very creepy and very eerie. It kind of gave me The Strangers kind of vibe, the movie The Strangers, kind of like that. But that's the first short. The second short is called Edward, and it was directed by Joseph Graham. It's about a guy who sleepwalks in the middle of the night and wakes up and he has blood on his hands. Not necessarily physical blood, but he's got blood in his hands like he did something. So he goes to his hypnosis guy, like a therapist, who puts him under hypnosis to kind of talk about it, his problems and kind of what's going on with him. As things go along, you kind of find out what Edward is all about. He's not who he seems. He's not what he seems. And you'll find that out if you check it out. I don't want to spoil it for you. I would give this short about a 7.5 out of 10. I actually really did like this short. It was actually my second favorite short out of the whole bunch. I really like the acting in it. Edward's actually played by this guy in the back. I don't know if you can see him. I don't know who he is. It's Nick Frangione. And he's a really good actor. He seems like he'd be a really good actor. I mean, I know this is kind of a lower budget. That was like one of the more lower budget shorts, but it was actually a really good short. Had a really good, cool storyline to it. So that's the second short. The third short is called The Quiet, and it's directed by Lee Matthews. It's about a deaf girl who is supposed to be picked up from school by her mom, but her mom ends up doing something outside of the norm. I'm not going to tell you because that'll spoil everything. And she doesn't get picked up. And she is being chased, playing like a cat and mouse game with a guy in the woods. So she's basically running away from this guy most of the whole short in the woods. She's deaf, she can't hear, but she can see. This guy seems like he's after her. And there is a twist at the end that I kind of saw coming, but it's a really cool twist. I think it was a pretty neat twist. if I had to rate that short, I'm going to give that short about 6.5 out of 10. I did enjoy that short. Definitely wasn't my favorite out of them, but it definitely was really cool and had the kind of generic twist at the end. The fourth short is called Little Girl. Well, actually, it's called Merry Little Christmas, and it's directed by Manuel Martin. It's about a little girl and her mother who are being abused. Well, the mother's being abused by the father, being beat up. It's actually pretty brutal. It shows this guy, and like I was actually really surprised, like with this short. It was really really brutal. It showed like a rape scene, the mother getting raped by the father, and it was just her being brutally beat. I was very surprised, but at the same time, I was very kind of happy that like it kind of shocked me. I wasn't expecting to be shocked, somewhat shocked by these set of shorts. This this short's basically, like I said, about the mother being beat. The mother turns into kind of like a you kind of see what she has to go through with this father, and then the daughter has to see it, and then the daughter grows up and things happen with the daughter. She's very very highly affected by what happened when she was younger, and a bunch of things ensue, a bunch of things happen. I give this short probably about a 7.5 out of 10. I did enjoy this short. I thought it was one of the better ones. It's probably my third favorite behind Edward, which was the hypnosis one that we just talked about. But yeah, actually, I gave it a 7.5 out of 10, and it was my first favorite. I rank these. I'm thinking a little bit different here. This was my first favorite. Edward was my second favorite, and I didn't really have a third, fourth, and fifth favorite. I just kind of like threw those all in together because I gave them about the same ratings, the rest of them. But we'll kind of get into the fifth one. But yeah, the fourth short, which was the Merry Little Christmas, directed by Manuel Martin. That was my favorite. Edward being my second favorite. Fifth short was the last short. It's called The Deviant One. It is directed by Brian Dorton. It is about a serial killer who basically just it's a silent short, and it has no dialogue whatsoever. It's completely silent. It's about a serial killer who kills a guy that he befriends, rapes the guy, kind of plays with his body, kind of like necrophilia, and then buries him under his house. So there really isn't much. You can't really talk about that short without spoiling it. There really isn't anything to it. It's kind of like an homage to like to just silent movies, and giving you that kind of that atmosphere of that creepy atmosphere of like a serial killer kind of thing. I would give that one about a 6 out of 10. It wasn't the best one out of the whole bunch, but it definitely was not the worst. I felt like the worst was the 3 a.m. short, which was the first short. I didn't really. I thought I did give it a 6.5 out of 10. I gave it higher than the Deviant one, but still, it didn't really. There was things about it that were a little bit better than the Deviant one, which was the serial killer one. But I did a little bit more enjoy the serial killer one, just on a I guess aspect of watching the movie. I just enjoyed it a little bit better. But if I was to rate these, in order, which ones I like the most, Merry Little Christmas, which is the fourth short, was my first favorite. Edward, which was the second short, was my second favorite. The Quiet, which was the deaf girl short, that was my third favorite. The Deviant one, which was the last short, the serial killer one, that was my fourth. And 3 a.m. was my fifth. So check out the Horror Network. I highly, highly recommend this. I really enjoyed it. Released by Wild Eye. You can go to wildeyereleasing.com. I was actually really surprised with this. Didn't know what to expect throwing it in. Check it out. Let me know what you guys think. And until next time, until next Tuesday, peace. See ya.